2023 will change the US economy forever. 2023 may be that year that established how the economy will look going forward. And everything that's going to be established soon in 2023 all started a couple of years ago, actually back in 2008. Back in 2008, of course, we had the Great Recession. The different practices that the Fed and the government and us consumers made back then finally is paying out today, and we're paying for those mistakes. What's up, YouTube? It's Matthew here. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how 2023 will establish the US economy forever. Well, for the next foreseeable 10-20 years. We're going to operate on a different landscape going forward, and it's because of the different things that we did over the past couple of years, the different things that the government did and that we as consumers did. So please be sure to like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to this channel for some content around the economy, about housing market, about other things relating to personal finance. First, let's talk about what happened in 2008 with the housing market crash, the Great Recession. And 2023 may look a little bit similar to what happened in 2008, as we are going to see home prices drop significantly this year. So in 2008, in order to stimulate the economy again, the Fed decided to do quantitative easing. Now, quantitative easing, according to Investopedia, is a form of monetary policy in which a central bank like the US Federal Reserve purchases securities from the open market to reduce interest rates and increase the money supply. Essentially, what they're saying is that the Fed, or like the US government bank, actually starts buying securities in the open market in order to give banks money, right? In order to give businesses money and to increase the money supply around the economy. And with more money, banks can issue out more loans, and usually around that time, interest rates are lower, and so you're able to do that. Back in 2008, the Fed was doing a lot of quantitative easing. According to this Investopedia article, they state that the US Federal Reserve ran a quantitative easing program from 2009 to 2014. So for 6 years, the government just started printing money and putting that out in the market in order to stimulate the economy back again. And the reason why this is so important is because it's finally showing up today in our inflation report in the US economy, right? Yes, we are dealing with inflation right now because of what happened in 2020 and 2021 with the government starting quantitative easing again. But all of that is a buildup to what happened back in 2008. Now, as we can see, that quantitative easing carries its own risk. Number one is inflation. And we saw that recently in the housing market, in the car market, where people had more of a supply of money. Banks had more of a supply of money. Interest rates were super low. So people were able to outbid $100,000 over asking price for a particular property. People were able to pay a markup for a Ford Maverick, for a vehicle out there. And with that, that increases the prices of commodities in a particular economy. And so you also run the risk of hyperinflation, where your currencies are devalued and everything is just priced super high. And so here, 2023, we are dealing with those repercussions. And the Fed, instead of doing quantitative easing, they're doing quantitative tightening, where they're reducing the money supply. They're not buying as much securities. And with that, that increases the interest rate, which the Fed has been implementing. And then also on top of that, that should reduce prices around the US economy. But the thing is, we're not quite there yet with prices seeing the decline that we need to see. And so that's why I say 2023 will set a new standard for the economy. Because yes, I believe home prices, car prices will go lower, but it won't go low enough where it becomes affordable for the average consumer. Because yes, interest rates are going up, so things are going down, right? But it's not going down to the point of pre-pandemic levels with a lot of different asset classes. Take, for example, the housing market, specifically home affordability. Now, Autumn released this report about home affordability, and it states that medium-priced single-family homes and condos are less affordable in the fourth quarter of 2022 compared to historical averages in 99% of the counties across the nation, with enough data to analyze, far above the 68% of counties that were less affordable in the fourth quarter of 2021. Essentially here, this article is saying that 99, almost 100%, usually with articles, you don't get 100% stats like that, right? Like 99% stats like that. And they're saying 99% of counties across America are not affordable for the average consumer. And that, of course, is because of all the quantitative easing we've been doing back in 2009 and in 2020, 2021. So home prices are higher, and even if they drop 10%, we have higher interest rates. And so that's another risk of quantitative easing, is that we can run into stagflation where, okay, yes, companies are now going to start laying off people, which increases unemployment, but at the same time, our affordability issue is still a problem where prices and interest rates are still elevated to the point where we can't buy a house and make an affordable monthly payment because of these different factors. The other thing about inflation, and why I think 2023 will set a new standard for the way of living or set the new standard for prices, is because if you look at CPI report or any inflation report, they usually compare year over year stats. And so if you look at 2023, let's say the median home price of properties is $400,000 in 2023. And then next year, let's say it's $400,000. Next year, the CPI report is going to show a 0% inflation. It's not going to show that, hey, things are still unaffordable, right? Let's say $400,000 is out of the range for most people. But the inflation report will still show a lower percentage because the price hasn't changed year over year. But it's still at elevated prices, which will still price out consumers. And then on top of that, we have the Fed going to continue on raising interest rates throughout this whole year. And so on top of having elevated prices, yes, they're not increasing, but they're not decreasing to the rate that we need to. And on top of that, while it may be decreasing a little bit, we have interest rates increasing. So that's why 2023 and beyond is going to be so different, because it's setting the new standard for prices. Now, continue on talking about the housing market, I want to talk about foreclosure rates. In another article by Autumn, they state that default notices, scheduled auctions, and bank repossessions were reported at 324,237 U.S. properties in 2022, up 115% from 2021, but down 34% from 2019, before the pandemic shook up the market. Here, this report is essentially saying that foreclosure rates have doubled year over year. And yes, it's unfortunate that foreclosures happen, but foreclosures, they're a good indicator to tell us where we're at in the economy, because you want to be at normal rates, right? And they said that we're still down compared to 2019 levels, pre-pandemic levels. And I think it's important to know that we're still not there, because either we have a long way to go in order to get back to that number or to get back to normal levels, or we're going to experience even more pre-foreclosures and foreclosures happening because prices are not going down as much and people are now having negative equity in their property. Maybe they put too low of a down payment in 2022. But if we don't get back to the 2019 rates, it shows that home prices are staying elevated, right? And it's not going to the point of affordability. And so, yeah, that's what we're dealing with in 2023. We're dealing with prices that may be the new norm moving forward. Will we ever get down to, in certain areas, a property where you can get 4 beds, 3 baths for under $300,000? Probably never again in certain areas, of course, right? We're going to see these prices that's been elevated stay there, maybe dip down a little bit, but never go back to pre-pandemic levels. And so that's the reality we're facing in 2023 and moving forward. And I think more than anything, it's just the affordability issue, like I mentioned, where the average consumer needs things to significantly drop, either the interest rates or prices, in order for them to afford buying and stimulating the economy. All right, you all, let me know what you think down below on where we are heading in 2023 with the economy and things of that nature, and the effects of what we did in 2009 to 2014 and in 2020 to 2022 with all the quantitative easing. How does that affect us today? Seems like we're finally paying for all of those printing of money, and hopefully we won't reach hyperinflation. I don't think so, since now that the Fed is reversing what they've been doing. But what do you all think down below? Let me know. All right, talk to you all later.